try some new cab lights. Rather, we're gonna try our universal grill bars as cab lights and see how they look. I don't know, we're gonna play around with this and see just what might look best, but my intention is to have 6 of them lined vertically like this. They'll go across, and I'm gonna hook them up to the factory wiring. Again, this is, we're kind of mocking it up to see what it looks like, just to maybe give some people some ideas. But I'm also going to hook them into the turn signal, and so the 3 on this side will work with this turn signal, and same on the other side. So you'll have these 3 sequential front to back turn signals on your cab lights, as well as the white startup animation on the cab lights. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. On these trucks, there's a Phillips head screw holding this in, so you'll take that out, and then there's 3 screws total, maybe 4 on this one, and these are Torx bits up in here. I think it's like a T15. You pull those out, and this will drop down. Some of them will have wiring running through there, and you have to unplug the wires, but the console on most of these has got a single Phillips head here. Take those Torx out, and then you can get these A-pillar trim pieces just kind of pop off. When you get all that down, we can access the wiring for the cab lights. I'm trying to feed these wires through these factory like clip things that the screws went into. Since this is just a mock-up, we're not going to be drilling any new holes into the roof of the truck. Obviously, if we were doing this as a final installation, you would drill one, like, probably 3/16 diameter hole right where the wires come out of the bar, so that it just drops straight through into the cab of the truck. And then you could peel, you'd want to clean this surface with rubbing alcohol to make sure there's no wax, grease, dirt, that kind of stuff, so that you get a nice adhesion with that. And then I would still recommend taking the included screws, drill a 1/16 hole through each of these mounting points, and then run those stainless steel screws down in there. Last but not least is, if you've got some either clear or black RTV type silicone, a little bit of that will help right where the wire goes through the bodywork, and where you drill these 2/16 inch holes, you'll want to add a little bit of like some type of sealant to help prevent any moisture from getting into the cab of the truck. For now though, we're just going to do it like this so that we can kind of get them mocked into place and dim the lights, and we'll see kind of what it looks like when you turn these things on. So I needed to get the headliner down to give myself a little more room to work with the wiring. I've actually never done one of these before, but the grab handle on the side of this 02 Silverado, normally it's a little cap and you pop that off and there's a screw up in there. These, I started prying them out. It only took a little tiny screwdriver, but they slid all the way out, and then the whole thing pops free. So I just, kind of interesting. If you're struggling with something like this, sometimes the solution is pretty simple one. So anyway, now that I've got this down, I can get into the wiring, and we're going to wire all 6 of them to the factory parking lights, power and ground, and then we'll run the 3 on the passenger side to that turn signal, and driver side to driver side turn signal. And I've got a little trick up my sleeve for making a really easy connection up to the turn signals. So I've got the wires all done. Again, this is just kind of a mock-up, so it's not really done to how I normally do it, but we're going to demonstrate the point here. What I did was I bound all 3 together with power and ground, and then I jumped those because this had factory cab lights. I just connected that to one of the factory cab light connectors. One option for these is this fuse box at the end of the dash here has a fuse in it that only has ignition power, and so you can use one of our fuse taps and get power from there for key on power if you'd like to have these come on with the ignition key. For the turn signals, what I was going to do is, on my truck, which is an 07, there are and I mentioned this in our tow mirror installation, this same fuse panel here has dedicated fuses right here for left turn and right turn. The O2 is different, and it just has a single fuse. So I had to run these wires. What you would do on the 99 to O2 trucks is you'd go through the firewall and into the underhood fuse box, where there's a trailer left turn and right turn is going to be these top left two 10 amp fuses, and you can grab power from there for your turn signals if you want to use the fuse tap method. If you'd like to use, you could also just run these wires out and splice them into like your factory turn signals, but come into this fuse box, and the 99 to O2 is going to be your shortest run. And the 03 to 07 trucks, again, your best bet's going to be to use the fuse box under the dash. Okay, we've got everything mocked up and in place, so now I'm going to switch the lights on and we'll see what the animation looks like and try out the turn signals too.